Okay, guys, we are at chapter 38 of Lemons, and it is titled In Triplicate. I'm officially reinstating you as the Bigfoot Detectives Inc. employee, Tobin tells me that evening after the hospital. He pulls my assistant Bigfoot detective tag with the wad of Elmer's glue out of the drawer of the desk at the Bigfoot headquarters, and he pins it to my front. He stands back, he cocks his head to the side, and he puckers up his lips, checking to see if it's straight. Lemonade Liberty Wit, Assistant Bigfoot Detective. I touch the edges of the badge like it's gold. I can't believe I'm admitting this, but I've actually missed the stupid thing pinned to my front. It makes me feel important and part of something big. Raise your right hand, he says, holding up his hand high. Oh, come on. Is this really necessary? Of course it's necessary. I give him the biggest eye roll ever. I, Lemonade Liberty Witch, promise not to blab any top secret Bigfoot-related matters. I repeat it. To any source, including all newspapers, TV reporters, corporate spies, and any and all naysayers, while employed at Bigfoot Detectives Inc. for eternity or longer. I repeat that too. And I will follow the lead of the Bigfoot Detectives Inc. founder and president and stop asking so many questions. Oh, come on. I drop my hand. He smiles. Okay, that's good enough, I guess. I'll type up the reinstatement paperwork tonight. I'll need it signed and sent back in triplicate. In what? In triplicate. You know, one copy for you, one for me, and I need one for the file. Why do you have to make everything so hard? Well, that's hard about triplicate. Well, first off, it's a waste of time. Yeah, but it's the rules. Your rules. So, without rules, things would run amok, and then life would be anarchy, a ruleless, leaderless society. And then next thing you know, you'll want to move the message pad. Anarchy! Do you want that? A little anarchy doesn't hurt anyone, I tell him. Actually, anarchy has been the downfall of many societies. During the Neolithic period, okay. I hold up my hands, sensing one of his 20-minute lists coming my way. You win. I'll sign in triplicate. And he smiles again. He likes it when he wins. Or maybe he's just happy because everything is back to the way it was, the way it should be. And I smile too. A week after Charlie gets out of the hospital, everything is back to normal. Well, mostly. Charlie's almost all better except for the stitches sewn into his right eyebrow and the bandage taped over to keep the germs out. Professor Malcolm is on his way from Idaho to give us the results from the test of the hair sample we sent him. He called Charlie last night to tell us that the local news wants to interview Tobin and me about our findings. That morning I chose my yellow sundress with the tiny daisies, the one that Mama bought me for a trip to San Francisco Playhouse for her birthday last year. I carefully comb my hair and let my red curls hang loose down my back. Well, look at you, Charlie says when I come to the kitchen table. Don't you look like a shiny new penny? Thanks, Charlie. It's, And I stop and I stare at Tobin. He's sitting at the kitchen table in a crisp, striped, short-sleeved shirt with a clip-on polka dot bow tie, long khaki pants with shiny brown dress shoes, his reddish-brown curls and parted on the side and slicked down into one big wave over his eyebrows. Minus one tan safari hat strapped tight under his chin. What happened to you? I ask, giggling behind my hand. Tobin sighs. My mother, he scowls. My mother happened to me. Charlie and I look at each other and laugh. Well, I think you look nice, I say, pulling out a chair. She took my hat, and he pouts. Yeah, I say. I noticed that first. Charlie closes the store for the afternoon to make sure there aren't any interruptions when the news people are filming, even though the crew is not scheduled to arrive till 3 o'clock. Professor Malcolm makes it to the store around 1:30. When Tobin sees he's wearing a crisp shirt and sports jacket, he finally wipes the scowl off his face. After we all say our hellos, we sit on the fluffy pillows around the fireplace. All right, kids, Professor Malcolm says, I wanted to let you know the results of the testing in person before the reporters get here. Tobin looks like he's going to bust wide open and explode. Tobin's guts are going to be all over Bigfoot souvenirs and more. I want to remind him to breathe, but I figure it will come to him on his own at some point. Yes, Professor Malcolm, I swallow. First of all, the footprints you casted are extraordinary. It measures 15 3/4 inches, and there's a distinct mid-tarsal break. It's undeniable. Tobin and I look at each other again, and now I have to remind myself to breathe. And second, the first sample you collected, it's not bear fur, he says. It's elk. It's not elk, and it's not moose. It's nothing that would have a hoof. Well, what is it then? Well, I can't identify it. And then he pauses again. What does that mean, Professor Malcolm? Charlie asks. It means it doesn't match any known hair sample of common wildlife in this region, or elsewhere, for that matter. It has some resemblance to human hair, but it's never been caught. What I can say with certainty, it is an unknown primate species. Primate? Charlie asks. That's right, Professor Malcolm smiles. It's not fur. It's primate hair. Tobin looks at me. Oh my gosh, we did it, Lemonade! Tobin jumps up and starts hugging me. We did it! You see, their modus operandi is to hide, Tobin is telling Channel 4 News. Tell us more about that, Tobin, the woman reporter says, holding a microphone close to him. She's dressed real fancy like a woman in San Francisco with high heels and a silk blue dress, and her hair is pulled back from her face by shiny batteries on either side of her head. Well, you see, they need to hide in this world, as he leans his mouth real close to the microphone, because they're different, and people choose not to understand those that are different, and can become cruel. Oh, I see, the female reporter asks, and she looks at me. Why is it that you've become a part of this, she asks me, holding the microphone out to me. The man carrying the camera on his shoulders turns the large round lens in my direction, and I start to feel really hot. We just want to prove the species exists. I look at Tobin out of the corner of my eye, and he nods. And allow them to be protected so they can live safely, just as any other creature on Earth should, even if they're different. Tobin nods again, because sometimes it's the differences that are exactly what make us special. I turn to Tobin, and he turns to me, and then he grins real big, and so does the news lady. That is wonderfully put, Lemonade Liberty Wit, the reporter says. The camera guy makes a circular gesture with his hand, and the lady nods to him. Thank you very much, Tobin, Lemonade, Charlie, and Professor Malcolm for your time today. This is Jessica Samish with Channel 4 News and Bigfoot Detectives, Inc. in Willow Creek, California. Back to you in the Reading studio, Tom.